71 method, auditing the invisible. To analyze this event, we must apply the 71 method. This isn't about ideology. It's about auditing a sequence. The 71 method treats a state-sponsored disappearance as a series of quantifiable data streams. Think of it like a supply chain audit. In any operation, there is friction, logs that must be signed, fuel that must be burned, and eyes that must see the movement. The 71 method looks for these friction points. It breaks the disappearance into 3 distinct phases: extraction, transit, and neutralization. So by focusing on the how, we can see the hidden architecture of power. We aren't looking for villains, we are looking for mechanics of the machine they built. Phase 1 of the blueprint, the transits. On that July afternoon, Marcelo was taken from the general staff office. But a person is a physical mass. To move that mass through a city requires a vehicle, a driver, and a window of time. And when we audit the route through the lens of fuel consumption and travel windows, the mystery starts to show its seams. The military vehicles use, like civilian-style trucks to avoid detection, had specific ranges and require refueling. So by mapping the distance from the general staff's office to the known final holding locations, we can see the exact windows where the Erasure was most vulnerable. Every minute spent in traffic is a friction point, and every liter of fuel used as a data point. The military machine didn't just drive, they engineered a path of least resistance, utilizing blackout zones in the city where bureaucratic oversight was non-existent. They weren't just moving a prisoner, they were managing a logistical flow. The signal and the noise, the bureaucratic silence. Phase 2. The information layer. So how do you hide a physical act? Can you crack bureaucratic noise? After the extraction, the military didn't just stay silent, they spoke in contradictions. Conflicting reports were issued. He was killed in a shootout. He escaped. He was never there. This isn't just lying, it's a tactical deployment of data to overwhelm the truth. And in the 71 method, we look for the signal within. See, this noise, the signal is the disposal sequence. So while the public-facing reports were chaotic, the internal military logs, the ones dealing with incinerators and secret burial sites, remain chillingly consistent. The engineering of silence requires that no two official stories match perfectly. Because a single perfect lie is easier to debunk than 100 messy ones. The friction point here was the paperwork. Somewhere a clerk had to log to a vehicle return, and somewhere a facility manager had to account for unusual waste. That is where the engineering of the perfect crime usually fails. In architecture of power, the architecture of power. Why the how matters. Why the how matters. So why does this technical focus matter? Because when we focus on the why, we get lost in the emotion of the tragedy. But when we focus on the how, we see the machine. The 71 method reveals that the disappearance of Marcelo Quiroga Santa Cruz wasn't a moment of madness. It was a cold logistical sequence. It shows that the state power isn't just about big speeches or soldiers in the streets. It's about the control of transparent, the management of fuel, and calculated use of bureaucratic confusion. Understanding the engineering behind the Erasure is the first step in reversing it. And when you know how the machine works, you know where to throw the wrench. Conclusion? The legacy of the blueprint. Marcelo Quiroga Santa Cruz was more than a data point, but to his captors, he was a problem to be solved through logistics. So by auditing the 1980 extraction, we don't just honor his memory, we expose the blueprints of the machine that took him. The crime was engineered to be perfect, but in the friction points, in the fuel logs, and in the bureaucratic noise, the truth remains. And as long as we keep auditing the sequence, the Erasure is never truly permanent. Remember this, that there is never no such thing as a perfect murder. No perfect crime. Eliminate all other possibilities, and that which remains is the truth.